I have always been, and I always will be. I stood at the dawn of creation, and I shall remain when the final star fades into darkness. Nothing escapes me. No force, no empire, no false god, no mortal. All of existence in time falls silent before my touch. You may fight me, you may curse me, you may spend every waking moment trying to outrun me. Yet I am inevitable, certain, guaranteed. Kings draped in gold and beggars clothed in rags meet me the same way. I draw no distinctions, offer no favours, and show no prejudice. To some, I am a long-awaited friend, a release from suffering, a welcome embrace. To others, I arrive amid a storm of regret, carrying all the words left unsaid and all the chances left untaken. Many spend their entire lives fearing the moment they will look upon my face. Others seek me willingly, calling my name into the darkness. Fear me, seek me, deny me, flee from me. It changes nothing, for I am patient. I do not hurry, and I do not forget. I will be there when your journey ends, and as I have been for every soul that came before you, and every soul that will follow. And when I arrive, it will be at precisely the moment it was always meant to be. The perfect time. I was here, before the first breath was drawn, before the first heart learned to beat. I was here, waiting. I have watched stars ignite and collapse into ash. I have witnessed empires rise from dust and return to it. I have held kings in my arms and closed the eyes of beggars. And never once did I hesitate. Never once did I care. You are all the same to me, brief sparks against an endless night. Then I saw you. Of all the countless souls that have crossed my path, I cannot explain why my gaze lingered upon you. It should not have. You were not a king, not a conqueror, not a prophet whose name would echo through history. You were simply you, a single mortal among billions. Yet I found myself watching. At first, I told myself it was just curiosity. I watched you laugh with friends beneath a summer sky. I watched you loved by another and then let it go. I watched you fail, rise again, and continue forward despite knowing exactly how your story would end. I have seen this dance an infinite number of times, yet somehow, when it was you, it felt different. I began searching for you in every crowd, every battlefield, every city, every quiet moment between heartbeats. The others came and went as they always had, but you became my favourite chapter in a book I had already read. And for the first time since the beginning of time, I dreaded the ending, because unlike you, I know precisely when it comes. I know the day, I know the hour, I know the final breath. I know the exact moment I will place my hand upon your shoulder and whisper your name. You spend your life fearing me, yet you do not know the truth. I fear that day far more than you ever could, for when I arrive, I will finally have what I have wanted for so long, and in the same moment, I will lose it, because that is the cruelty of my existence. I can admire life, I can watch it, I can even love it, but I cannot keep it. I am deaf. Everything eventually belongs to me, except the moments before they do. And those moments belong to you. So live, laugh, love recklessly, waste time on beautiful things, stay a little longer beneath the sun. For every second you remain beyond my reach is another second I can pretend I am not waiting for you. And when the day finally comes, when your weary heart beats for the last time, do not be afraid when you see me. I promise you this, of all the souls I've guided into eternity, you will be the only one I meet with tears in my eyes. I have always known what I am, death, the final page, the closing note, the inevitable end of every story ever told. For eternity, that knowledge was enough. I never questioned my purpose. The stars did not question why they burned. The oceans did not question why they rose and fell. And I did not question why I took. It was simply my nature, my duty, my existence. Then I saw you, and for the first time I found myself asking a question I was never meant to ask. Why? Why must every beautiful thing end? Why must every laugh fade into silence? Why must every dream, every love, every life be placed into my hands? I watch you from afar and I cannot understand it. You know your life is fragile. You know it is temporary. You know that one day I will come for you. Yet you wake each morning and choose to live anyway. You love despite knowing loss awaits. You build despite knowing time will tear it all down. You hope despite knowing hope can break your heart. I once thought that made humanity foolish. Now I wonder if it's what makes you extraordinary. Because I know everything ends, and somehow you find reason to begin. The cruelest part is that I have witnessed this truth countless times. A mother holding a child, an old man dancing with the woman he has loved for 50 years, friends laughing until tears fill their eyes, a couple lying beneath the stars believing they have forever. I have stolen every one of those moments, and I never cared until now. Now I carry them with me. Now they haunt me. I find myself lingering when I should not, watching when I should leave, wishing for just one more day, one more hour, one more breath. Not because it changes anything, but because I have finally learned what it means to lose, and I hate it. Gods fear oblivion, mortals fear me, but I have begun to fear myself. And what kind of existence was I created for? To witness beauty only to destroy it, to watch love bloom only to tear it from the soil, to stand beside every cradle knowing I'll one day stand beside the grave. Was I truly made for this? Or am I simply the universe's oldest mistake? Sometimes I wonder if anyone has ever asked what I wanted, if anyone has ever cared. I have carried every soul that has ever lived, yet there has never been a hand to carry me. I have listened to final prayers, final confessions, final declarations of love, yet there was never been a voice waiting for mine until yours. And now I find myself committing the one sin death should never commit. I envy the living. I envy your tears, your laughter, your fleeting moments, your ability to hold someone close and feel their heart beat against your chest. I would surrender eternity for a single moment of that, a single day, a single life, a single chance to know what it means to be anything other than this. But I cannot, because I am death, and death does not get to choose. The universe demands, and I obey. Yet, every day that passes, every moment I spend watching you live, I find that obedience becoming harder. The stars still burn, the oceans still rise and fall, but I am no longer certain of my place among them. For the first time since the beginning of creation, I do not wish to be deaf. I only wish to be a man. And that is the tragedy even I cannot escape. Sometimes, when the universe grows quiet and there are no souls calling my name, I allow myself a weakness. I dream, not of endings, not of graves, not of the endless procession of lives passing through my hands. I dream of you, and of a life that could never be. I imagine waking beside you as dawn spills golden light through a bedroom window. Not because I must, not because some cosmic duty calls to me, but simply because you are there. I imagine the warmth of your hand finding mine beneath tangled sheets, the softness of your sleepy smile, the sound of your voice before the world has fully awakened. Such ordinary things, things no mortal ever treasures until they are gone. Yet I would trade eternity for a single morning. I imagine a small house somewhere, far from the noise of the world. Nothing grand, nothing worthy of kings, just a place that belongs to us. A garden we would never quite manage to keep alive. A creaking floorboard I would promise to fix tomorrow. A chair by the fire where you would sit after long days while I listened to stories I had already heard 100 times and loved them all the more because they came from you. I imagine growing old. What a strange thought, death growing old. Yet I envy it. I envy the silver that would creep into your hair, the lines that would form around your eyes, years written across your face like chapters in a beloved book. I would count every one of them as a blessing. I would sit beside you on quiet evenings and watch the sun disappear below the horizon, knowing another day awaited us tomorrow. That is what I envy most, tomorrow. Mortals spend their lives believing they have countless tomorrows. They curse them, waste them, take them for granted. Yet to me, they are more precious than all the stars in heaven, because I have never had one. I have only ever had forever, and forever is a lonely thing. I imagine arguments that mean nothing, laughing until neither of us can remember why, dancing badly in a kitchen while dinner burns, holding you when the world feels too heavy, being held when mine does. I imagine children. Perhaps they would have your eyes. perhaps your stubbornness too. I imagine teaching them how to walk, listen to their endless questions, watching them become all they can be, watching them build lives of their own, and for once, not knowing how their stories end. That is another thing I would surrender eternity for. Surprise, the ability to wonder, to know what comes next, or not to know what comes next. To experience life one moment at a time, as you do. I imagine growing old beside you. Two weathered souls sitting on a porch beneath a fading sky, your hand resting in mine, our bodies slower, our voices softer, yet neither of us minding because we had time, years of it, decades, a lifetime. And when the end finally came, as it comes for all things, I imagine meeting it not as death, but as your husband, as the man who shared your burdens, your joys, your fears, your ordinary Tuesdays and unforgettable summers. I would lie beside you one final time and close my eyes knowing that every moment before that had been ours. No cosmic responsibilities, no endless procession of souls, no universe resting upon my shoulders. Just us, just life, a small life, an insignificant life. The kind mortals live every day without realising how miraculous it truly is. And perhaps that is the cruelest irony of all. I have witnessed every wonder creation has ever produced. Empires, galaxies, gods. Yet the thing I desire most is neither grand nor eternal. It is simply this, to grow old with the woman I love. To spend a lifetime forgetting that I am deaf and remembering instead what it means to live. I wonder, can you feel me? No, of course not. Not yet. But I wonder sometimes. On quiet evening when the world falls still and you find yourself staring into nothing, does some part of you sense me drawing nearer? When a sudden chill brushes against your skin on a warm summer night, when you wake from a dream you cannot quite remember, when your heart aches with a longing you cannot explain, do you feel me then? Do you feel the distance between us shrinking? I do. Every day, every hour, every beat of your heart, I know exactly how many remain. That is the curse of loving a mortal. I do not fear the unknown, I fear what I know. I know the day we will meet. I know the place. I know the final breath that will leave your lips. I know the exact moment your eyes will finally find mine. And I hate myself for it. Because while you move towards that moment unaware, I have been walking to it for years, counting down, watching the sands fall grain by grain, desperately wishing I could stop them. Can you imagine what that feels like? To spend a lifetime longing for someone, only to know that your touch will be the end of theirs. I have stood beside you more times than you realise. I was there when you laughed so hard you could barely breathe. I was there when grief hollowed out your chest and left you staring at the ceiling long after midnight. I was there when you fell in love. I was there when your heart broke. I was there for every victory, every failure, every scar, every triumph, invisible, silent, watching, loving, and never daring to reach for you, because I know what happens when I do. Sometimes I whisper your name. Not because you can hear it, but because I need to say it. Need to remind myself that you are real, that you exist somewhere beyond my dreams. And every time I do, it hurts a little more, because your name was never meant to be a prayer. Yet that is what it has become. I tell myself I should stay away. That distance would make this easier. But I am weak where you are concerned, so I linger. A little closer each year, a little closer each season, a little closer every time the sun rises. And now, I am closer than I have ever been. Close enough that sometimes I think you almost notice. Almost. Perhaps that sudden feeling of being watched. That fleeting sadness that arrives without reason. That strange sense that someone misses you, though you cannot imagine who. Perhaps those are pieces of me slipping through. Perhaps they are proof that even death cannot hide a broken heart forever. The universe would laugh if it knew. Death, heartbroken. What an absurd thing. What a pathetic thing. Yet here I am. The great certainty of existence, the final destination of every living soul, reduced to mourning a future that has not yet arrived, because I know something you do not. Every step you take towards me is a step I desperately wish you would not. Every year you survive is a gift. Every wrinkle, every grey hair, every passing season is a victory I secretly celebrate. Live longer. Please, take your time. Watch another sunrise. Fall in love again. Laugh too loudly. Stay out too late. Tell the people you love that you love them. Grow old. Grow impossibly old. Force me to wait. Because despite everything I have told myself, despite all the lonely centuries before you, I am not ready. I do not think I ever will be. For when we finally meet, you will see me for the first time, and I will see you for the last. You may look upon me with fear, with confusion, with sorrow, but none of it will compare to what I feel. Because for you, our meeting will be an ending. For me, it will be the loss of the only thing I've ever wanted. So, tell me, my love, can you feel me getting closer? Because I feel every inch of the distance disappearing. And with each passing day I find myself praying for something I've never prayed for before. More time. Just a little more time. I knew this day would come. I always knew. From the moment I first noticed you among the countless souls of creation, I knew there would be a final sunset, a final breath, a final heartbeat. I knew because I am deaf. Knowing endings is what I am. Yet, knowing did nothing to prepare me for this. The room is quiet, the kind of quiet that exists only at the edge of the final goodbye. Moonlight spills across the floor, pale and gentle, painting silver across skin warmed by a life well lived. Your life. The life I spent years begging the universe to let me keep. And now there is almost nothing left between us. One breath, then another, each one weaker than the last. I stand beside you as I've always stood beside you. Yet, I have never felt so powerless. I have ended empires without hesitation. watched stars collapse into darkness, carried souls by the trillions into eternity. But this single woman lying before me is more than I can bear. You look so small, not because you are weak, never because you are weak, but because life has finally set down the weight it asked you to carry. The years rest upon your shoulders, the victories, the losses, the love, the grief. Every moment that made you who you are. And all I can think is that I would give anything, everything, to grant you one more morning, one more sunrise, one more chance to open your eyes. But I cannot. For the first time in existence, I hate what I am. I hate these hands. I hate this purpose. I hate the universe that made me. Because all of creation bends to its laws. Even me, especially me. My fingers tremble as I reach towards yours. Death does not tremble. Death does not fear. Death does not cry. At least I never did before. Yet tears fall freely now. Ancient things, older than stars, older than time itself, and still they cannot change what comes next. Your eyes open slowly, clouded with age, heavy with exhaustion, and for the first time in your life, you see me, not as a shadow, not as a whisper, not as a distant certainty. You see me. I've imagined this moment 1,000 different ways. I imagined fear, confusion, resistance. I imagined you pulling away. Instead, you smile. And somehow that hurts more than anything. Because after all this time, after all my dread, you look at me as though you have known me forever. As though some forgotten part of your soul recognizes mine. Have we met, you ask softly. The question shatters what remains of me. Because the answer is yes. 1,000 times yes. I was there when you took your first breath. I was there for every triumph, every heartbreak, every prayer spoken into an empty sky, every lonely night, every beautiful moment. I have loved you for my entire life. But all I can manage is a whisper. No. A lie. The first true lie I've ever told. Because the truth would break us both. Your hand reaches for mine, and when our fingers touch, the universe stops. At least it feels that way. For the first time, I know what warmth feels like. For the first time, I know what it means to be touched by someone you love. And for the first time, I understand why mortals fear losing each other. Because now I'm losing you. The final breath comes quietly. No violence, no struggle, just peace. A gentle exhale. A weary traveller finally arriving home. And then silence. I wait, desperately, foolishly, for another breath, one more. Please, just one more. But none comes. The room remains still, and the truth settles upon me with unbearable weight. You are gone. The heart I listened to for an entire lifetime has fallen silent. The story I cherished above all others has reached its final page. And suddenly eternity stretches before me once more, empty, meaningless, cruel. I fall to my knees beside your bed. The universe expects me to guide your soul onward, to perform the duty I have performed since the beginning. Instead, I break. I bury my face against your hand and weep, not as death, not as a cosmic force, not as the inevitable end, but as a man whose heart has just been shattered. For the first time in existence, I understand grief, not the grief I witnessed in others, not the grief I carried second-hand through endless centuries. My grief, raw, endless, absolute, and it hurts. God, how it hurts. At last, I understand the tears I have seen shed beside countless graves, the desperate bargains, the cries to uncaring heavens, the refusal to let go. I understand all of it now, because love and loss were never opposites. They're always the same thing. One merely follows the other. Eventually, all things do. And so, I sit beside you long after the world has fallen silent, holding your hand, unable to move, unable to become deaf again. Because for one impossible lifetime, I forgot what I was. I became something else, someone capable of love. And now I must pay the price. For in the end, I discovered a truth far crueler than mortality itself. The only thing in all existence that death could not survive was losing you. Life and death, beginning and end, creation and oblivion. As though we are enemies locked in an eternal struggle. As though one triumphs when the other falls. But they do not understand. No one understands, not even life herself. For I have never hated her. How could I? She is everything I am not. Where she creates, I conclude. Where she ignites, I extinguish. Where she says hello, I whisper goodbye. We are bound together more intimately than any lovers could be. Yet, we can never truly meet. That is our curse. I watch her work from afar. I watch her paint colour into empty canvas. I watch her fill lungs with breath and hearts with purpose. I watch her laugh through children, sing through birds, bloom through flowers, and dance through lovers beneath moonlight skies. And every time, I fall a little more in love with what she creates, especially you. But when she arrives, I must leave, and when I arrive, she departs. Like two sides forever chasing one another across an endless shore, close enough to feel the pull, never close enough to touch. That is the law written into the bones of existence. Life cannot remain where I dwell. I cannot remain where life reigns. The moment one of us enters, the other fades. Always. Without exception. Without mercy. Perhaps that is why losing you hurts so deeply. Because for the first time I wish the law were wrong. I wish life and death could occupy the same moment, the same space, the same heart. I wished I could sit beside you beneath a summer sky while life still danced in your veins. I wished I could hear your laughter without knowing silence followed. I wished I could love you without destroying the very thing I loved. But I cannot. because I am the shadow cast by her light, and a shadow only exists where light begins to fade. You belong to her. Every smile, every dream, every breath, those were her gifts, and I cherished them because they were yours. And yet the closer I came to you, the further she retreated. That is the cruelty of what I am. I cannot hold a living hand. I cannot kiss living lips. I cannot share a living heart. For my touch marks the moment life lets go. And so I have spent eternity watching from the doorway, close enough to see happiness, too far away to share it. Do you know what I envy most about mortals? It's not your years, not your passions, not even your love. It is that, for a brief and beautiful moment, you contain both life and death. Within that every beating heart lies the promise of both beginning and endings. You carry us together in a way we never can ourselves. For every breath life gives you is one breath closer to me. And somehow, within that contradiction you find a meaning. But we do not. Life and I remain separated by the very purpose that defines us. Two halves of a whole that can never become complete. Two notes in a song that are forbidden from being played together. Two lovers trapped on opposite sides of eternity. And now, as I sit beside what remains of you, I finally understand the deepest tragedy of existence. It is not that all living things must die. It is not that every soul must end. It is not even that I loved you and lost you. No, the deepest tragedy is this. Life spent your entire existence carrying you towards me, and I spent your entire existence trying to hold myself back. Yet neither of us had a choice, because life and death were never meant to become one. The moment she released her grasp, mine begins. The moment I arrive, she is gone. And somewhere beyond the reach of stars, beyond the reach of time itself, I find myself wondering, what would happen if, just once, we defied the universe? If life remained when I arrived, if death stayed when she did? If for a single impossible moment we ceased to be opposites and became something whole, would the cosmos unravel? Would the stars fall from the heavens? Would creation itself become undone? Perhaps, or perhaps that impossible union would look something like you and me, a life and a death, sitting side by side, neither arriving, neither departing, at last free from the roles we were given, at last free to simply exist together, a dream so beautiful that even death cannot help but mourn it. Farewell, my love. Sleep the long sleep.